What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's the big dog named Austin. The season's here. I need to do a prediction. I need to tell you what the records are going to be for every single team, who's making the playoffs and who's not making the playoffs, and who's winning the Super Bowl. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to be starting with the AFC East. The AFC East last season was a pretty competitive division. The Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins both had the same record at 11-6. This season, I'm predicting the Dolphins to have 11 wins and 6 losses. But the Bills, I think the Bills take a step back without having Stephon Diggs. I feel that they're not a very potent offense. I know Josh Allen is an MVP candidate. I know he's still got solid receivers and that defense is still solid, but I don't trust the Bills. And looking at the Bills' schedule, legitimately, I think that there's about 8 losses there. I have the Bills at 8-9. And in second place in the AFC East, the Jets, 10-7. Aaron Rodgers stays healthy all season long. He has a solid year. Doesn't take the Jets to the playoffs. It's a stacked, and I mean stacked, AFC. Good luck. Good luck. Moving on now to the 4th place team in the AFC East, the New England Patriots, 3-14. Some of these records, I'm pushing. It's pushing it. Okay. Some of these teams, I gave them a win or two. I didn't give them a loss or two. I gave them a win or two because I didn't feel like the Patriots were going to be a 1-win team. With that being said, I had them 3-14. The Patriots are not going to be a very good team. Jacoby Brissett's a solid quarterback, but the Patriots have a pretty tough schedule. They're going to get swept by the Bills. They're going to get swept by the Jets. They're going to get swept by the Dolphins. And they're going to lose to just about everybody they play. Sorry, Patriots fans. AFC North. Last year, the Baltimore Ravens, I wouldn't say ran away with the division because it's a very competitive division. But they had a 2-game lead on the second place team. Last season, they were 13-4, which was good enough for the number 1 seed in the AFC. The second place team, the Cleveland Browns, they were 11-6 and making the playoffs as that 5 seed. Then the Steelers as the 6 seed, they were 10-7. They made the playoffs. And then the Bengals, who had Joe Burrow injured and their backup quarterback came in and he played pretty well. They went 9-8. So this division is one of the most competitive divisions, as well as being the most talented division. Like all 4 of these teams have a legitimate shot at making the playoffs. And I don't say that lightly. I'm being 100% serious. Like the worst team in this division, I'll tell you right now, is the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-7. And last year they were 10-7 and they made the playoffs. Unfortunately, I don't have the Steelers in the playoffs. Spoiler alert, it's the Texans at 10-7. The Steelers are in 4th place in this division, according to me, at 10-7. At number 1, the Ravens, the same record they had last year at 13-4. And then the Bengals, 12-5, with Joe Burrow coming back. Now, I believe that Jamar Chase and the Bengals are going to get that figured out. He might not play week 1, and it doesn't matter for the Bengals because the Bengals are always kind of just, they start slow and they start to come on later in the season. I got them at 12-5. The Cleveland Browns, 11-6. I think they're going to have one of the best defenses in the league. And who knows what Deshaun Watson's going to be. Deshaun Watson can come back and be Texans Deshaun Watson. I'm not completely sold on it. But if Deshaun Watson's what the quarterbacks were last season, I have a legitimate belief that the Browns are going to be a force to be reckoned with. 11-6. Moving on to the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, they've ran that division for the last however long. They're going to continue to run that division. I've got them winning 15-2 is the record that I have them going. Now, I know that they won't win every game. The Chiefs are just, they're going to lose a couple of games. But I had a hard time not saying that the Chiefs were going to go 16-1. Only losing to maybe the Ravens. Like, it's tough. It is tough to look at them and to know that they've won back-to-back Super Bowls, to know that they have the best quarterback in the league, to know that they've gotten better receivers, and they still have Andy Reid, and their defense maybe gotten a little worse with losing L'Jarius Sneed, but to know all that, and to just look at their schedule and just be like, I don't see them losing more than 3 games. They're the number 1 team in the AFC. Number 2 in that division, the Raiders. The Raiders, I don't like their quarterback situation because Gardner Minshew he's got a ceiling. And that ceiling's 9-8, and that's what I got the Raiders going. The Chargers, they're a team that last season they finished 5-12. They hired Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan. Obviously, he won the national championship last year. They've got their quarterback and Justin Herbert. He's a solid quarterback. I think that they'll be improved. They'll fight in some games, but ultimately I think that they'll be about 9-8, 8-9. I have them. This is one of the teams that I gave a little extra win to. I got them at 9-8, being in third place in the AFC West. Now, the Denver Broncos. This team, some people have this team making the playoffs. I'm not one of those people. I think they could be the worst team in the AFC West. I like the addition of Sean Payton, but I just don't think that it's going to be good enough to compete in the AFC West, especially with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and really with the other two teams. Like, I just don't think that the Broncos, they just paid Patrick Surtain, but that's really, I don't know. I'm not sold on the Broncos. I've got them at 5-12 in fourth place. And of course, we'll finish off with the AFC South. Now, I looked at it, and if you want to get on me, you can get on me, but I got the Colts winning the division. I got the Colts going 11-6. Since last season, the Texans, since they won the division, they play a first-place schedule. They've got a really tough schedule. And I looked at it a couple times, and I got the Texans at 10-7. And I've got the Texans being that 7th seed in the playoffs. Colts winning the division at 11-6. Moving on to the third slot in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 9-8. I think that that's really their peak. Maybe 10-7. I don't see them making the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's solid. He's good. He was injured last season. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, and maybe he'll win a couple more games. I mean, this AFC South can be really, really tight and really, really competitive. Like, the Jaguars can be better than what I'm expecting them to be. The Texans probably will be better than what I'm expecting to be. And the Colts, they could be right where I'm thinking they're going to be. So if all three of those statements are true, they're all going to be right there, just like the AFC North. All going to be right there. Such a stacked division. Fighting it out, duking it out. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. These rivalries, these Colts, Texans, Titans, Jaguars rivalries are going to be insane because the Titans think that they have their guy in Will Levis, and they've made some moves all season. They've gotten L'Jarius Sneed. The Titans got a new coach. Will Levis is solid. It's the hype, it's the hope that the Titans fans and they're kind of bringing around that this could be a competitive division. I've got the Titans going to 7-10. Moving on to the NFC. This NFC is also very stacked. You got to have 10 wins, at least 10 wins to make the playoffs. You can't get in with 9 wins. The days with getting in with 9 wins are over, okay? Starting off with the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, they won the division last season after really a Philadelphia Eagles collapse. The Dallas Cowboys went 12-5. I think they keep the same record this season. The Philadelphia Eagles went 11-6. I think that they go the same record this season. I think the Washington Commanders, even though they've got a rookie quarterback, I think that he's going to have a little bit of growing pains. 6-11 is kind of where I think that they stand. And the New York Giants. This is one of those teams where I had a really hard time finding even 3 wins. The Giants are going to be a terrible football team. Daniel Jones is not a very good quarterback. And 3-14. 3-14 were just 2 years ago. They were in the playoffs. Winning a playoff game, were they not? NFC North. I love the NFC North because I'm so intrigued by this. Okay, forget the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold's their starting quarterback. Ew. Okay, Vikings 5-12. But 1 through 3 is such a battle between the Lions, Packers, and Bears. The Bears have a rookie quarterback. The Packers have, not a rookie quarterback, but he's still a pretty young quarterback. But the Lions have a very seasoned vet in Jared Goff. And Jared Goff's going to be really good this season. And I think Jared Goff leads the Detroit Lions to a number 1 seed in the playoffs. Takes the Lions to 13-4 record. The Packers, they'll make the playoffs. They'll be 11-6. The Bears, they'll squeak into the playoffs with a 10-7 record, finishing 3rd in the NFC North. Moving on to the NFC West. Yeah, the defending NFC champions, the San Francisco 49ers, I think they win the division this year again. They'll finish with a record of about 12-5. They'll be just about as good as last year. I don't think that they're going to the Super Bowl though. I think that last year was probably their best shot to go to the Super Bowl. I think they'll be a little worse than what they were last season. They'll still be good, but I got them winning the division. And of course, the Rams, they had a really good season last year with Matt Stafford. They started coming on late. They went 10-7. They went to the playoffs and ultimately losing to the Detroit Lions. I think they go 9-8. They miss out on the playoffs. In third place, the Seattle Seahawks. They're without Pete Carroll now. What will they be like? I think that they'll be about 8-9. They'll finish in third. And then the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, you got Kyler Murray, who was really a really good quarterback just a few years ago, and now it's kind of fallen off. And now you get a rookie wide receiver who's my pick, who went Offensive Rookie of the Year. I just don't think the Cardinals are going to be very good. They're going to get thrashed pretty hard by the other three opponents in their division for about 6 losses. I think that they finish about 5-12. They'll be picking pretty early next season. They'll probably pick a quarterback to go along with Marvin Harrison Jr. Last but not least, the NFC South. I think just the top 2 spots is really interesting. I really like the Falcons, primarily because they got Kirk Cousins. And if Kirk Cousins stays healthy, that completely changes the dynamic of the Falcons offense. And if Bijan Robinson, if you can utilize him the correct way, like this Falcons team can be really, really good. Along with Kyle Pitts, if he can ever get healthy, and Drake London, they're a really good receiver. I like the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons win their division, go 11-6. I know a couple Falcons fans, and I know they'd like to hear that. But second place, last season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they won the division. They went 9-8. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that the days of 9-8 football teams, 9-7 back in the day, but 9-8 now, football teams making it to the playoffs, I think those days are coming to an end because the league is so stacked, because the league has so much talent, and there's just so many good teams, and 9-8 won't get you there. But then the Cardinals, excuse me, not the Cardinals, but then the Saints at 6-11, Derek Carr, whatever, okay? Need I say more? No. And then the Carolina Panthers. This was another team where I had a really hard time finding even one single win for them. I couldn't predict the Panthers to go 0-17. What kind of ass clown would I look like? I can't do that. So I picked the Panthers to go 1-16. Sorry, Lars. They're just not good. They're just terrible. They're the worst team in football. They're not the worst team I've ever seen, but they're the worst team in football. They're so bad. Who are they going to beat? I'm sorry. Carolina Panthers 1-16. So, that takes me to my playoff predictions. AFC, Chiefs, the number 1 seed at 15-2, followed by the Baltimore Ravens at 13-4. Number 3 seed, the Miami Dolphins at 11-6. The number 4 seed, the Indianapolis Colts at 11-6. I think the Colts win the division for the first time since 2014. And they would play host to the 5 seed Cincinnati Bengals at 12-5. Followed by the 6 seed Cleveland Browns at 11-6. And the 7 seed, I wouldn't say squeaking in because 10-7 is a really good record. Houston Texans getting that 7 seed in the playoffs. Now the NFC, the Detroit Lions 13-4. They'd be the number 1 seed, getting that first round bye. The San Francisco 49ers getting that 2nd seed at 12-5. The Dallas Cowboys getting that 3 seed at 12-5. The Falcons, the 4 seed at 11-6. The Eagles, the 5 seed at 11-6. The Packers, the 6 seed at 11-6. And the Chicago Bears getting that 7 seed, making it into the playoffs, probably losing their first game, but making it to the playoffs nonetheless at 10-7. Now, a lot of the times it's the number 1 seeds making it to the Super Bowl, and that's probably what it's going to be this year. I got the Lions going to the Super Bowl, baby. The Lions versus the Chiefs. I really wanted to pick the Lions. I just couldn't. I couldn't. Maybe in the moment. Maybe after, we get here, and if it is, in fact, the Lions and the Chiefs, maybe I'll pick the Lions. But right now, I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. They'll have a record of 15-2. Patrick Mahomes won the MVP. They'll go on to win the Super Bowl. Three-peat for the first time in NFL history. I think it's real. They lost the AFC Championship game in 2018. They went in 2019 but lost. Went in 2020 and won. Went in 2021 and lost. 2022, 2023 won. And then now after they won the 2022 one, I'm like, we're in the middle of a dynasty. I said that to everybody. We are in the middle of a dynasty. And we are, in fact, in the middle of a dynasty. And I think that one of the greatest dynasties of all time is the Chicago Bulls. And what did they do 2 times? They three-peated. So I think to be considered one of the greatest dynasties in sports, you got to three-peat. And I think that's what the Chiefs will do. So that's my predictions for the 2024 season. I can't wait. I'm super excited for it to get underway. But hopefully I'm wrong about all this, and the Colts, they win. Go Colts.